I'm here today with Teresa Bolger, who is going to talk to us a little bit about supervision and some of the sort of myths and understandings, or misunderstandings rather, about what supervision is, and also tell us a little bit about her personal experience and the benefits of supervision on a personal level, one-to-one, and also with the EAPH group supervision as well. So welcome, Teresa. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for coming to talk to us today.
Thank you, Helen. Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. Very welcome. So supervision, it's something that all therapists really need on a personal and a professional basis. But I think that a lot of therapists don't have a proper idea of what supervision is. They seem to think it might be somebody telling you what to do or something like that. So perhaps you'd like to just give us a little idea of your understanding and your lived experience of supervision.
Sure, absolutely. It's funny when you say that about the perception of supervision. I always remember early days when I began training, you'd hear about supervision. You'd have supervised hours once you finish training. And initially, my perception of that was that when I began to work with clients, that somebody would be supervising. They would be in the room with a pen and paper supervising. And God, I was very intimidated by the idea and maybe felt a bit embarrassed when I found out that that's not what it is at all. But, you live and learn. But that was my initial perception. Supervision it's a little bit misleading, the term. You're being watched. And that absolutely, as I have learned, it's not what supervision is at all. So that was my initial image in my head. Being checked up on and being watched. And
I mean, that's the immediate thought in people's mind, supervision, that's what it means to be overlooked by someone else, doesn't it? Supervised by somebody. In the sense that they're sort of better qualified or higher up or something, than you are. But that's not really how it is it? So perhaps you'd like to elaborate on, your own personal experience of it and the benefits of it.
Sure. So, that initial perception couldn't have been more far wrong. I have found supervision on a professional and a personal level to be just so incredibly helpful. If I was to dip into what it's done for me, I think there are times therapy can be, or being a therapist or a hypnotherapist, it can be a little bit isolating because you're working with your clients and it's you and your clients. And then if you're left with that interaction after work and you've nowhere really to take it or to discuss it, obviously everything is confidential as it should be, but supervision is being able to take what's happening in your clinic with your clients to somebody, and obviously this is all confidential as well, but you get to talk about what's happening in the clinic, what's happening with your client, what's happening with you as their therapist, sometimes maybe what's happening for you as a person, because we're human too with our own stuff. And it's hugely beneficial. It takes away that feeling of I'm on my own with this stuff. And there's that outside perspective. Sometimes you might feel like you're a bit stuck with a client, or I'm trying everything here and I'm doing all the things I've learned and nothing's happening. And a couple of minutes with your supervisor, and here you've got a brand new perspective from somebody else. I never thought of it like that, because we all think differently. We're not always able to work from a manual and it'll work out. Sometimes that perspective is just so helpful.
Absolutely.
Guidance, just sometimes even validation, to hear, what you're doing there, that sounds really good, especially as a new therapist. Early days, it can be great to, I think I'm on the right track here. And that validation can be lovely, and it's really good for your confidence, and you're going back in feeling more, capable and able. I am doing okay here. I am. So in turn, that's obviously good for our clients as well, because you're presenting as a more well-rounded person with, you're not just in your own head with your own perspectives. You have to be open to.
Sure, I think it makes you more grounded, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And to be able to think a bit more clearly and logically, perhaps, about where your therapy is going with your client. When you have somebody to discuss what you've done with the client with. So how often would you go for supervision, Teresa?
I primarily work with smoke cessation, which it's a funny one. It's rare that this is my own approach to smoke cessation, and everybody has their way about things. Mine is a fairly standard program, and it's rare that anything new would come up. You know me, Helen, don't get me started about smoke cessation because I'll talk forever about it. But the way I go about it, it tends to be quite a simple step-by-step process, and most of my clients move through it in pretty much the same way. As I always say, it's strange no matter what background they have. I always say I don't mind if somebody is a scaffolder, a barrister, or whatever background they have. The smoke cessation tends to be the same kind of process. So that's that. But when I'm seeing people for anxiety or anything where they're struggling with mental health, stuff like that, I would make sure to see a supervisor more regularly then, So we would have our group supervision with Carmel Semple, with the EAPH, and then I would have some one-to-one supervision as well, just to make sure I'm keeping on top of things, because we owe that to our clients apart from anything else, to make sure we're looking after our practice that way. On that, the group supervision within the EAPH with Carmel Semple, I can't stress how incredibly helpful that has been. And I'm sure there were other EAPH members who will attest to this, but I have worked in other areas that would require seeing supervisors, and absolutely not knocking it. I get wonderful help and have had wonderful supervision in other lines of work. Carmel Semple's group supervision is above and beyond anything I've encountered anywhere. And I think if Carmel was your only supervisor, you wouldn't realize how spoiled you were. She's incredible. She'll always, have presentations and talk you through, I'm trying to think of an example. When we do our EAPH group supervision, she'll have, a PowerPoint, and she'll get really detailed, and she'll talk you through it, stuff that you may never have considered before.
And she challenges us a little bit, doesn't she?
Absolutely. And you need that too.
I think to think about these things and maybe examine our own beliefs about the particular topic that she's working with, because a lot of Carmel's group supervision is more educational, isn't it? It's looking at particular areas related to therapy, and then really getting us to think about how we approach this and our understanding of it. I think it's brilliant myself. I really do.
Yeah, and you're right. That's so important. We all need to, because we can get stuck in our belief systems and stuff, and we all need to be challenged a bit. And sometimes that challenge might bring you right back to, this is firmly where I am with this, and sometimes you shift a bit, and and it's great to have that. So the group supervision is wonderful. I've found it to be really helpful.
And I mean, Carmel offers that for EAPH members 4 times a year at a very nominal cost altogether. So, I mean, in the EAPH, the European Association of Professional Hypnotherapists.
Our lovely catchy name.
We ask members to attend 4 sessions of supervision with an accredited EAPH supervisor. And we have a list of those for members. And the reason we only ask for 4 sessions is because most therapists would have to do maybe supervision with another modality or technique that they're qualified in as well. So supervision is something really, I think, that is mandatory. It is mandatory if you're a regulated profession. But even for those who aren't regulated, I mean, I think definitely it should be mandatory that you have some minimum level of supervision if you're seeing clients.
Yeah, it's ethical, isn't it? So it's mandatory because it's ethical.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, I think you would be doing yourself and your clients a disservice to avoid it, because I suppose it could happen that you feel like, well, I know what I'm doing, or even maybe someone who's been working for a long time, I've been doing this long enough now, I know what I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
there's never a day that it wouldn't
Yes.
benefit
Yes.
to be interacting with a supervisor,
Yeah, I think that sometimes, as you say, or as you've said already, it can be a lonely profession being a therapist, because you're there on your own, especially if you're working only on Zoom and not even having the interaction of in and out of an office anymore.
Yeah.
And there is a tendency to perhaps get stuck in our ways, to get stuck in a rut, and to think, oh, I'm fine. If somebody brings me a very sad story, a very heavy story, oh, I'm fine, it doesn't affect me. But really, it may well do. And then so, your own mental health might be impacted by that, and you might not be doing as good a job then for your next client, because some part of you is still thinking of, the previous client would say.
Absolutely.
So all of that can be talked through and worked out, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And as hypnotherapists, that should be quite apparent to us. We might consciously think, I'm fine, none of this is bothering me, and yet it's trickling in there, and it's sitting in the background, and it's creating, maybe responses or, feelings that we're not aware where they're coming from, and that stuff can all be, come out in the process of interacting with a supervisor. So yeah, there's so many benefits to it. I could probably talk about it a lot longer than would be a good idea for anyone who wants to stay interested, but there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to have a quick chat just to clear up a few misconceptions, and the opportunity, to let people know the real benefits of supervision. So while we're on the topic of benefits, just before we finish, you've been a very active, and you're on our committee as well, very active member of the EAPH for many years now. Since we changed our name over in 2019. So briefly, what do you think are the benefits of membership? Why would you encourage other therapists perhaps to join our association?
I absolutely love, and I know I'm biased, but I love the EAPH. The interaction with other members is fantastic. There's some just really wonderful people on the committee, in the group. Even little things like we have that WhatsApp group where members can interact. People are exchanging ideas, talking about different things that we can attend or that they've attended. It's just a support.
Yeah,
there's a lot of support. The CPD stuff, there's the continual professional development, events and online training, and like lots of this stuff included in the fee, which is just, I think we are quite spoiled. And yeah, it's something I really do like, the fact that there's a lot of interaction and support between the members, and obviously being on the committee has been lovely as well for me, because everybody's been very supportive and helpful. But yeah, within the members group, there's plenty of interaction there, and that's been really helpful.
Yeah, great, lovely. Thanks, Tracy. So if people are interested in smoking cessation, how can they contact you if they're interested in your services?
Well, thank you for allowing me the plug. So I am on Facebook. That's my primary interaction. I'm using that word a lot today. Lots of interaction going on here. So Teresa Bolger Clinical Hypnotherapy. I'm on there, and I have a website, teresabolger.com. And I suppose if you go onto the EAPH website, I'm listed on there as well, and that'll include my phone number.
Right. Okay, lovely. Thanks very much, Tracy.
Thank you.
I keep calling you Tracy because Teresa is professionally what you call yourself.
That's fine. It's when I'm being tremendously posh and professional, I'm Teresa, but you're allowed to call me Tracy as well. I don't mind.
Okay, so So just a quick plug then for the EAPH, the European Association of Professional Hypnotherapists. So if anybody who is a therapist is interested in finding out about the benefits and how they could join us, EAPH.ie is our website. All the details are there. And if anybody is watching this who is interested in contacting a hypnotherapist to help them with their issues, we have a directory of accredited members on that website. So when people go to that website, they can be assured that the people on the directory are properly qualified and ethical therapists who are in supervision, as they should be. Okay, so we wrap it up there, Tracy. Thank you very much. See you again soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.